Recording is on.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga. So glad to have you with me online, both live and then maybe later on YouTube. What we're going to do today is focus on the moon salutation. So most everyone has done Surya Namaskar, the sun salutation. It's a progression of poses with different levels for different abilities. And we're going to take that down to the knees today for a moon salutation. So we'll spend quite a bit of time on our knees this morning. I have a little blanket set down onto my yoga mat. So if you have tender knees, sometimes the sticky mat or yoga mats are so thin that if you're on a hard floor, it might be a little bit tender on your knees. So maybe a little pillow or cushion, a blanket, a towel, something like that would be nice. I also have my block and yoga strap. And we will start in child's pose this morning. Get nice and comfortable. And we'll take our child's pose with the knees wide. So I'm coming down onto my blanket, separating the knees, sitting the hips back towards the heels, lengthening the fingertips out long onto the mat. And just take your forehead down and relax it to the mat or maybe to your yoga block. And our child's pose is meant to be a restorative, relaxing pose. If for some reason you have knee issues that prevent you from sitting the hips back to the heels, you can take your yoga block and use it like a little seat cushion and have a seat right on that block. And then when you extend the legs or the arms out, the knees aren't bent quite so deeply. Or you can make this into our puppy pose where you have the hips stacked over the knees, way up with just about a 90-degree bend in the knees. So just want you to find that comfortable place for you today. And just bring your awareness to the breath. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And find an equal ratio breath. It's a breath pattern where the duration of the inhalation matches the duration of the exhalation. So maybe breathing in a count of 3 or 4, and exhaling that same count of 3 or 4. And just begin to clear your mind. Come into the present moment, in the here and now. So you're fully spirit, mind, and body engaged in your yoga practice. In the moon salutation, our child's pose takes the place of downward facing dog. So I want you to really reach the fingertips out long towards the top of the mat. Spread the fingers. Your elbows are off the floor and you're pressing down into the earth just like you would in down dog. So you feel some action in your arms, in your upper back. And try not to hunch your shoulders up towards your ears, but press the shoulder blades down and broaden through the upper back. We'll be here 2 more breaths. Rise up to all fours. Begin to warm up the lower back, mid back, and upper back with cow and cat. So we let the belly drop down, the tailbone lift, the chin glide forward on our inhalation to cow. And exhale, curve the spine upward, look towards the belly for cat pose. And find that equal ratio breath. Inhaling and exhaling the same duration for the pose. And try to take a little bit of weight out of your hands so that your wrists aren't feeling a lot of pressure. Your elbows are softened. And just check in with your lower back, see how you're feeling today. And if you're feeling any pinching as you drop the belly down into cow, just make that pose small, easing up on the range of motion. Let's take one more. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Come back to a neutral spine. Walk your hands back in toward you and come all the way up onto your knees with good posture. So today, this is our mountain pose. Rather than being on our feet, we're kneeling in mountain. So feel a little tuck of your tailbone, engagement of the thighs, shoulders back, nice posture. Lengthen through the arms, through the fingertips. And then we'll just inhale, sweeping the arms out and up. And as you exhale, swan dive into child's pose. So the arms reach out, they plant down to the mat. Maybe your forehead connects, maybe not. And then as you inhale, come back up, reverse your swan dive, reach. Exhale, swan dive into child's pose. At your own pace, an equal ratio breath. One more, breathe in and breathe out, child's pose. Now inhale, rise all the way up. And as you exhale, we'll sink into kneeling chair. So we bring the fingertips forward and we sit the hips back towards the heels. So it's just as if I'm in chair pose, but rather than being standing on my feet, I'm kneeling into chair. So as you inhale, just lift the arms up and exhale and sink into chair. So this requires some work in your quads. If you have knee issues and this isn't feeling okay for you, just make it a little small one. Just barely sit back. Or if that's not still working for you, just stay upright and just move your arms as we come into this portion of our moon salutation. We'll take 3 more. Breathe in, reach up. Breathe out, sit into kneeling chair. 2 more. One more. Now breathe in, reach up, swan dive into your child's pose. Active arms. From child's pose, shift forward into kneeling plank. So the hands stay where they are. We just rise up, drop the hips down until your spine is neutral. And then press back to your child's pose. Exhaling. Inhale, glide forward to kneeling plank. We're starting to warm up through the shoulders here as we're moving through flexion and extension of the shoulders. Fingertips are spread wide, connecting with the mat. One more. Press back to child's pose and hold. So we'll begin to create a vinyasa flow sequence. Inhale, rise up to your reaching, extending, kneeling chair and sink back into the hips. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, swan dive down into your child's pose. Inhale, glide forward to kneeling plank. Exhale, press back to child's pose. Inhale, rise up. Kneeling chair. Inhale. Swan dive into that child's pose. Inhale forward, kneeling plank. And back to child's pose. One more time, reverse swan dive. Come up and chair. Rise up, child's pose. Glide forward to your kneeling plank and press back to child's pose. And we'll take a little break from being on our knees. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, come into downward facing dog. Lengthen the back of the legs and just slowly pedal out the feet. Bending one knee at a time, press into the heel. Now, if your knees are really bothering you doing your moon salutation today, you can do the sun salutation. Come up onto your feet and flow through those standing poses rather than the kneeling poses. If you need a break from being on your knees, just pop up to your down dog, just as we are, and pedal out the feet. One more on each side. And then drop those knees back down to your mat, back to child's pose. Inhale, reverse swan dive, come up. Exhale, kneeling chair. Inhale, reach. Exhale, swan dive, child's pose. Inhale forward to kneeling plank and hold. We'll practice our chaturanga here. So the elbows stay in close to the waist as we bend the elbows down towards the floor. Press back up and child's pose. Inhale forward to kneeling plank. Exhale, kneeling chaturanga, bend the elbows. Press back up, inhale. Exhale, back to child's pose. Try that twice more. Maybe just a small bend of the elbow in your chaturanga. If you have any shoulder issues, do the range of motion that works good for you. And one more, glide forward. And pressing back. Let's connect that all together. Reverse swan dive, inhale, reach. Kneeling chair. Inhale, rise. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, press up. Exhale, back to your child's pose. Just one more time for that sequence. Breathe in, stretch up, and chair. Breathe in, child's pose. Kneeling plank, chaturanga. Press back up, and child's pose. We'll rise up to the knees and step the right foot forward into kneeling lunge. So we'll take that foot, you can give it some assistance, step it way forward towards the top of your mat, and come down into a nice low lunge here. So our goal is to really open up the front of the left hip flexor. Releasing the hip flexor helps with lower back pain, as that muscle that crosses the hip connects into the lower back. Let's take a nice big deep breath in, sweep the arms up, and exhale down. Breathe in, and breathe out. One more. And breathe out. Fingertips reach down to the floor, straighten out that front leg, flex the foot up, stretch through the hamstring, the back of that right leg. Now point this foot down to the floor. See if you can touch and feel a stretch across the top of the foot, and then flex it back up. If hamstrings are tight, you can use your block to support your hands so you can be up higher. Flex and point. Flex and point. One more. Flex and point. Shift back into your low lunge. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Press the palms together and turn towards that front leg, twisting. We can stay upright here or bring the elbow across the thigh, looking over the shoulder. And this will increase the release in that left hip flexor. Nice long spine. Breathe. And we'll come back to the center line. Take both hands to the inside of that right knee, and that'll allow you to sweep it around to come back to your child's pose. Inhale, reverse swan dive, rise. Exhale, kneeling chair. Inhale, reach. Exhale into child's pose. Glide forward, kneeling plank. Chaturanga. Press back up and child's pose. We'll step that left foot forward into our kneeling lunge. Make sure you have a nice big step. We want to keep that foot at least underneath the knee, or maybe even a little further out ahead. Drop into this right hip to stretch the hip flexor. With the breath, inhale, stretch up. Exhale, lower the arms. Breathe in and breathe out. Each time you raise those arms, you'll feel a little deeper stretch in front of that hip. And then lower the hands down, reach to the floor, to your block. Press back into your hamstring stretch. So our goal is to have the hips level here. This knee can be slightly bent. And then articulate the ankle. Point the foot and flex. And point and flex. Shoulders are back and down. Nice long spine. And then point the foot to the floor, shift back into your kneeling lunge. Inhale, reach the arms. Press the palms and twist, either staying upright or bringing the elbow across the thigh. Gazing over the shoulder, breathe. Equal ratio breath. And one more breath in. Exhale, back to center. Place both hands to the inside of the foot to sweep that leg back around to a kneeling position. Coming into child's pose. We'll take one more moon salutation. Inhale, rise up. Kneeling chair. Inhale. Swan dive, child's pose. Glide forward, kneeling plank. Chaturanga, elbows close to the waist. Press back up and back to your child's pose. We'll come into toe squat. So rise up, tuck the toes underneath, and then sit back to stretch under the toes. Now your block's a really good tool to use here if you're having a hard time sitting all the way back on the heels. You can sit right on top of the block so you can take some of the body weight out of your heels. If that's still too intense for you, just bring your hands forward onto the floor, and then you can guide the amount of energy that you'd like to take into your feet. And check and make sure even your little toes are tucked under. Sometimes they don't want to play along. And then we'll hold here. Just close your eyes, come back to your equal ratio breath. This can be an intense stretch, but so beneficial for the plantar fascia, for the Achilles tendons, that entire posterior chain. Any tension that you have always ends at your feet. Let's take 3 more breaths. And then exhale. If you're sitting on the block, come all the way back up. Keep your toes tucked under if that feels comfortable for you. We'll inhale, reach the arms up. Turn to your right, and then reach the right hand back and see if you can touch your heel with your fingers. Inhale back up. Turn to the left. See if you can touch. Alternating sides. Twisting camel pose. Now you can start to make this more of a back bend by pressing your hips forward and lengthening back, or stay upright. If it's starting to become too painful for your toes, you can turn your feet over so you have the tops of your feet to the mat. One more on each side. And come center. Swan dive down into child's pose. Let the tops of your feet come back to the floor. Now we're going to stretch our feet the other direction. So as you rise up to the knees, tuck your toes, lift the hips up into down dog, and then take your right foot and turn the top of your foot down to the floor and press into your toes. Press into the top of your feet. One more breath. And then turn that foot back under. Turn the left foot, top of the toes, come down to the mat, press. Just a little gentle pressure, easy stretch. One more breath. And then turn that foot back down, drop the knees down to the mat, child's pose. So working on a little bit of spinal extension, we'll inhale, come all the way back up. Little baby back bend here as you press the hips forward. Exhale, swan dive into child's pose for our moon salutation. Inhale forward to kneeling plank. And then just start to let your hips drop down any amount towards the floor. And gaze straight forward, shoulder blades are down. I'd like you to still have some engagement in your abs, so try not to just hang here, but keep your belly engaged. Spine is long. If you feel any pinching in your lower back, just bring this up to neutral in your kneeling plank. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then pull those hips back. Come back into your child's pose. We'll rise back up to the knees and step that right foot forward again into your low lunge. Now, your option for our second set in this series is to make this a high crescent lunge. So you can tuck those back toes under, lift the back knee off the mat, and come up now into high lunge. So either one is great. We'll take the breath. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, lower the arms. Inhale. Exhale. Sweep those arms behind you a little to stretch through the chest. 2 more. One more. And then reach the fingertips down to the floor and begin to straighten out that front leg just as we did before on the knees. Now, when you're up off of the knee, you really might need your block to bring the floor up towards you a bit. And we'll flex that front foot, pull it up, and point. Flex, and point. 2 more. Point that foot, rebend the front knee to come back into your high crescent lunge or your kneeling lunge. Press the palms and twist towards the right side. Either stay upright or bring that elbow across the thigh into your twisting prayer lunge. So we can look down towards that big toe of the front foot. We can turn the gaze over the shoulder. A little bit more challenging for balance, because I'm not ready to lose mine. A couple more breaths here. And then come back to center. Place both hands to the inside, and then step that foot back, come down to your knees. Child's pose. And a moon salutation. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, kneeling chair. Inhale, rise. Exhale, swan dive, child's pose. Inhale, glide forward, kneeling plank or spinal extension. Bend the elbows, lower down, press back up, and back to your child's pose. And then we'll rise up and step the left foot forward, either staying on your knee for kneeling lunge, or tucking the back toes under to lift that knee up off the floor, rising up into high crescent. Inhale as the arms are extended and lengthened. Exhale to bring them back and expand through the chest. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more. Feel that stretch in the front of the hip, releasing the hip flexor. And reach the fingertips down to the floor to your block. Straighten out your front leg any amount. Now, if this is really hard to get that leg straight, just drop that knee back down and come back to that kneeling pose. It's a wonderful way to stretch the hamstring. And then we'll flex the front foot, pull it up, and point back down. Flex, and point. 2 more. And then let it lower, shift back, rebending that knee, come back to your high lunge or low lunge. Press the palms at heart center, turn to the left, Either stay upright or bring that elbow across the thigh. Twisting prayer lunge. Decide where you'd like to take your gaze and breathe. Last inhalation. And exhale, come back to center. Place both hands to the inside. Step that foot back. Drop to the knees. Child's pose. And our last moon salutation. Inhale, reach. Kneeling chair. Inhale. Swan dive, child's pose. Glide forward, kneeling plank. Or spinal extension, kneeling up dog. Bend the elbows, chaturanga. And press up and back to your child's pose. We'll come back to all fours. For thread the needle, inhale, reach the right arm, stretch it up. Exhale, reach underneath, bringing your shoulder and your right ear towards the mat. 2 more, stretch up and reach under. 1 more. And hold. Top hand, or that left hand, can reach up to the top of the mat, or you can place it behind your lower back and rotate that left shoulder up. With that great stretch through the back. Gentle twist. Relax your neck. 1 more breath. And place the left hand back down to the floor. Twist back open, stretch up. And then lower the hand down to the floor. We'll switch sides. Left arm reaches, rotate, and reach under. Big deep breath. 2 more. And 1 more. Stretch. And hold that, thread the needle. Right arm can reach or wrap. Pull that shoulder back. Relax your jaw and your belly. And then press into the palm. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, back to all fours. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. Come into ragdoll pose. Clasp opposite elbows. Relax the shoulders and the lower back. Let your head go. Maybe shake it side to side, up and down. A little bit of traction for your neck. And release the hands. Let the fingertips float up the shins into half lift with a nice neutral spine. Fold back into forward bend. Reverse swan dive. Come all the way up. Reach the fingertips, press the palms, and thumbs come to heart center. We'll be moving into a balanced pose this morning, so if you need to clear your space with your cushion, you can bring that out of the way. If you need a chair to hold on to or the wall for balance, you can grab that as well. We're going to flow today through our balance pose. This is more of a vinyasa style class, so we're going to be very active as we move into balance. So we'll stand on the right leg, fingertips turned out or palms pressed at the heart, wherever you like to be here for balance. pick up the left knee and hold. Straighten the left leg, hold. Then swivel that leg out to the side, starfish. Swivel leg behind you, warrior three. And then rise back up. Come up on the balls of the feet. Balance. And let the heels drop and the arms drop. Stand on your left foot. Pick up the right knee. Hold. Straighten the leg. Swivel the leg to the side, starfish. Swivel the leg behind you, warrior three. Extended mountain pose, raise up on the toes. And lower down. Stand on the right foot, pick up the left knee, move a little quicker, straighten the leg, swivel around, swivel behind, extended mountain, and lift up, lower down, right knee raises, straighten the leg, swivel around, swivel behind, extended mountain, and raise up. You have two more on each side. Knee lifts, leg straightens. Starfish, warrior three. Extended mountain, raise up. Right knee lifts. Straighten. Starfish. Warrior three. Extended mountain. Raise up on the balls of the feet. One more each side. Knee. Straighten. Sweep around. Sweep behind. Reach up and lift. Last one, knee raises. Leg extends. Circle around. Circle behind. Reach up and lift. Lower down and relax the arms. Take your legs nice and wide, turn your toes out slightly, sink down into goddess squat, reaching the arms, nice and strong through the upper body. Inhale, stretch up to five-pointed star. Exhale, pull the elbows down and back, squeeze the shoulder blades. Inhale, reach. Exhale, sink. Hold here. We just shift to the right side, trying to bring that elbow towards the thigh. And then shift to the other side. Nice lateral flexion of the spine. And imagine you're standing up against a wall, so you feel your shoulder blades just skimming along that imaginary wall. One more to the right. One more to the left. And come center. Reach up, five-pointed star. And then we'll rotate the right foot out. Come into warrior two. Maybe lengthen that stride a little bit. We're here just as we did before. Shoulders are squared, imaginary wall behind you. Shift elbow, and other side. And we can add some lengthening of the arm. So as the right elbow comes down, the left arm reaches. And as the left elbow comes down, the right arm reaches. Lower body really still and stable. One more each side. Modified side angle and reverse warrior. And come back center. Lengthen the arms, straighten both legs. Reach out long for triangle. Fingertips come down. Looking towards the sky, rotate that shoulder back. 2 breaths. And then rebend that front knee, drift back to your warrior 2. Bring the arms behind your back. Come into chest expansion. And you can stay upright if you'd like here, or bow this forward into humble warrior 2. Lifting those arms back behind the back body. Rising back up. And release the clasp of the hands. Stretch the arms up. 5-pointed star. Turn that right foot in. Left foot turns out. Find your warrior 2 here. Elbows bend. Drop that left elbow towards the left thigh. And the right elbow towards the right. So really try not to twist your body here. This is simply side bending, just as we did when we were in our goddess squat position. And we can add the lengthening of the opposite arm. Stretch and stretch. This should feel great for your lower back. It activates and lengthens the QL muscle, which can get very tight. Last one. Come back to your warrior 2. Extend through the fingertips. Straighten out the front leg. Shift out for triangle. Fingertips come down to the shin. Reach that right arm up. Pull the shoulder blade back. Gaze up to the sky. Activate both inner thighs and your pelvic floor muscles. Keep breathing. And then rebend that knee. Come back to your warrior 2. Reach up to 5-pointed star. Turn both toes forward and swan dive into wide leg stretch. Stretching the backs of the legs. You can use your block here to bring the floor up to you a little bit closer. We're going to shift the body weight onto the balls of the feet and lift your heels up. And then bring the body weight back to the heels and lift your toes up. Just rocking back and forth. Heels lift. And the toes lift. One more time each. And then plant the feet firmly. Stretch the fingertips out, way out towards the top. And we're in a modified downward facing dog position with the arms. Tip your tailbone up back behind you, really lengthen. 2 more breaths. And walk those hands back in. Transition to seated. You can tuck one leg underneath you and come down to your mat. If you need your cushion again for the tailbone, it's kind of nice to have here just to sit on your blanket. I know one of my friends that's with me today needs that, just like I do. Okay, so grab a hold of your yoga strap. And we are going to tuck the left leg kind of underneath and bring that strap underneath the bottom of the ball of the right foot. And pick that leg up. And then hold on to your strap with just the left hand and bring that leg across your body. Now, if you're flexible enough, you might not need to use the strap. You can grab the foot and extend that leg. Right arm reaches out, rotate behind you, and hold. Wonderful stretch for the IT band, for the medial glute, outside of the hip, and the hamstring. Really lengthen the spine long and see if you can pull that leg across just a little more and twist a little further. 3 breaths. And then bring that head back to center, the leg back, and release the foot. Let's try the other side. If you're using your yoga strap, place it under the bottom of the foot. Bring that leg up. If you're using the hand, it's the opposite hand that holds onto the foot. So we extend that leg out, pull it across, open the arm, and twist. And really try not to slump. Keep lifting up, lengthening. Notice where you're feeling the sensation in the stretch. Relax those areas. See if you can bring that leg across just a little more and slightly increase your rotation. 3 breaths. And come back to center and lower that leg down. We'll come into a basic Navasana, or boat pose. So find a little spot right behind your sitting bones. See if you can pick your feet up off the mat. Maybe you're holding behind on your thighs, or you can let go and just balance. It's okay to have your feet down. I still really feel my core working here when my feet are on the floor. So you choose where you'd like to go with your boat pose today. And maybe close your eyes for a couple of breaths. See if you can draw your shoulder blades a little further away from your ears. One more breath in. And exhale. Set the feet down. Allow your knees to separate. Reach through into butterfly pose. So butterfly can be a really nice stretch for your lower back. So notice if that's where you're feeling the sensations. Or just your inner thighs. Hold just a couple more breaths. And then rising back up, Close the knees together. Extend your left leg out a little straighter and bring the right ankle to cross the left thigh. Now this might be a pretty good stretch for you in your hip. If you need a little more, pull that knee back up, bending this left knee a little deeper until you feel the stretch that suits you here. This is a seated pigeon, seated figure 4. So we'll take just a few breaths stretching, and then we're going to bring this pose back into our boat pose. So the ways we can do it, just simply leaning back a little bit, feel your core, or find your balance and pick that lower foot off the mat. So I'm using my left leg to push my right leg up towards my chest a little more to feel that stretch, and breathe. And then we'll lower that foot back down and uncross. The right leg is slightly bent. The left ankle crosses the thigh. And then we start to slide that leg up until we feel the stretch we want here. Holding for a few breaths, nice long spine. Now, if you prefer not to balance in boat, just stay right where you're at, or lean the upper body back a little bit, and maybe the foot comes off the floor, and push in with that leg to stretch. Shoulder blades down. And one more breath. And set the foot back down, uncross, come back to your butterfly, soles of the feet together, knees open, and fold through. And we're going to finish our practice today using our yoga strap for cow face stretch for the shoulders. So our seated pose will keep the right knee bent, extend the left leg forward, just relax this hip. Take your yoga strap into your right hand and let it reach back behind your back. Now before we grab it with the left, let's just do a little pre-stretching here. Pull the elbow back. And make sure your head isn't dropping down. So I want you to feel the back of your head pressing into your arm or your wrist behind you. Keep that little bit of tension and then turn your thumb in. Find the strap behind you. If you don't have your yoga strap, just reach your fingertips as closely as you can together and hold this stretch. So we're feeling the back of the upper arm on the right side, the left shoulder, and you can continue to walk the fingertips a little closer together as you hold. So your choice with this pose is to stay upright, or if you'd like, you can fold over that front leg. And notice when you do, it almost pulls your bottom arm up towards you a little bit, increasing your stretch. So be really mindful and careful of that stretch. Holding here 3 breaths. And slowly rising, release the bottom arm first, and then the top arm. Switch your legs, right leg extends forward, seated tree pose. Let this hip relax, let the knee just open. Yoga strap in the left hand, dangle behind your back. Pre-stretch for the tricep, pull it up, and keep your head back into your forearm or your wrist. Reach behind you with the right arm. For us that are right dominant, this might be a tighter side. So take it where you feel comfortable. Walk your fingertips as closely as you can together. And you can stay upright as you are, or slowly fold over that leg. Relax your lower back, your hamstring, your calf muscle. Equal ratio breathing. Two more breaths. And rise up, releasing that bottom arm first, and then the top arm. Both legs come out straight in front of you. The strap comes behind your back. And you can have it as wide as you'd like for your arms behind you. Roll your shoulder blades together, lift your arms up behind your back body any amount to broaden through the front of both shoulders and through the chest. You can stay upright or fold into your forward bend. Keep lifting those arms up. If you're struggling to get any range of motion, slide your hands a little wider on the strap. 3 breaths. And then rolling back up, release the strap. Come into a simple cross-leg pose. Lengthen the spine. Ground into the sitting bones. Eyes are closed. Come back to your equal ratio breath. Breathing in, maybe a count of 3 or 4. Exhaling that same duration. See if you can sit a little taller with better posture, lifting the heart proudly forward and upward. One more breath in. And exhale. The palms come together at heart center. This is known as the Anjali Mudra, and mudra means sign or symbol. And this is a symbol or a sign of honor and of gratitude. And just take a moment to focus on something or someone that you're especially grateful for today. And I am truly grateful for this opportunity to guide you through your yoga practice from afar in this way in which we can continue to practice as a community and gather together from our homes. And the light and love that resides within me honors the light and love in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. Anyone would like to hop on and say hello? I'd love to see your smiling, gorgeous faces. Let's get our recording off first.